So what you saying, you was practicing in your mind?
Yeah.
And practicing in your mind help you what?
Do better.
In the what? Physical world, right?
Yeah. In the future.
I love you.
Love you too.
Peace.
Peace.
I'm playing with the flow. You know the deal. Hey yo, who that? You know the deal. Moving at the speed of black. You know the deal. Walk with me, don't follow me there. You know the deal. It's showtime like Uptown on a 5-line. Like limes, how a fix cats could bite pine. Decipher the times, expression through rhymes. Collect enough chicken, build my mama a shrine. Still trying to get in it to get off the swine. You know the old and condition never change with the times. They grow stale and frail, bones break as the wind propel. Stuck in a cell like J-Lo, losing glow from Halo. And you know it's painful when you see they life decline slow. It can all be so simple. Change diet, set your heart on a proper tempo. Life extend longer than a Mozart instrumental. Swift with the penmanship, give blemishes to whack cats watching face leeching off my diction list, formulating rhymes off my ill shit. You're popular, so the blind won't peep it. What a fine miss, my naked eye detected though. Nameless long and I ain't gon' drop it. Oh, yeah, that, see that. Always got some shit to say. Now is the time to build. What the fuck is the delay? We speak about them spaceships another day. I'm on to the chick and my brother attention pays for no man this time. Wait, get up and grind great. And I don't mind, it's a jungle gym for devils play. Get up and grind great, no more time to waste, no more shine awakes. And I don't mind, it's a jungle gym for devils play. Awaiting the slay. Get up, grind great, no more time to waste, no more shine awakes. And I don't mind, it's a jungle gym for devils play. Awaiting the slay. Kayo, Haile, Black Ninjutsu,
the master. Hit me, enough respect,
hey, yo, who that? Moving at the speed of black.
Enough respect, dude.
360 views to go about it. Many ways, many rays, just you be the pilot. Islam been flying, I need no stylist. Pick apart my parables, it's like that I'm sounding. Wind sing from the red tin, swing behead the bloodhounders. They body fishes, cut them up like flounders. Hit them with the swindle, let them think he getting what he want. Feed him fools gold, he won't know the difference, he's a chump. Automatic push button, remote control, synthetic genetics. They commanded by another soul. Watch dogs for the sea, safe for pussies trying to play the soul like pussies. One is rolling death like Tookie. They moving all shifty, but they can never get here. Praying that they vic me, but all they see is victory. Divine spark from an old black dome. I took a deep dive through the 7 seas of time. Cool and calmly, I collected my mind. I had a talk with my inner self, said state sublime. Keep your work clandestine, pressure applied. Paralyzed spine with metaphysical rhyme. They on me 48 laws, still can't pass the eye. All seeking, radiating this high noon. Pupils dilating anytime the rhyme say it. Demonstrate his dissertation. Now I'm stained in your wisdom, find its fragrance. A mind still, you only quentin and the thighs quaking. The water can't escape the high speed rotation. As the planet travel around the S.STREET. Be clear what you attract, cause some could be the gin. Material man, posing as your friend. Everyone you smoke with and joke with ain't your kin. Walk with me. They moving all shifty, but they can never get he. Praying that they vic me, but all they see is victory. They moving all shifty, but they can never get he. Praying that they vic me, but all they see is victory.
Get up in the morning and what?
The hip-hop writer is a creator. Composing understanding words of cultured brilliance, powering a rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly, uses his ears for the good to filter the real, and as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show on S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the lone low life with the home sewn garment, the true and living God stepping in score, the Boricua with the build, Sunyas Allah, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low, and we are on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media. Every intrigue will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only show about my element of hip-hop. The writer, as I say, of art on art and science on music. The only show in hip-hop history on this element that I, a veteran of over 20 years, is approaching a 25, helped to pioneer. One of those aspects that I take credit for is being able to overtly say what it is, to overtly say that this is an element, though. And you know, a lot of times it's really inviting other writers to it, though. People write about hip-hop and they just say things about things, but they don't craft their words. They don't play with them. They don't say, look, this is going to be a work that goes along with the works. So they don't take any daring, though, and it just becomes, well, what it became, all the shit that we read out here, you know what I mean? And it just becomes, at best, blogs of posts of obsessive consumerism. He's out. He's got this. Go get that one. This is another one. You know what I mean? Indeed. And it's just a, you know, a capitalistic roll call. You know what I mean? A kind of like a, you know, a conveyor belt of tracks. That isn't good enough. You know what I mean? We need to toss some of this stuff away and focus on things and focus on everyone that does something in hip hop should be trying to do something in hip hop. When I started to write, I actually was thinking like, yo, I can't just talk about other stuff. Well, what can I give to it? You know what I mean? What can I do to say that I'm hip hop as well? Just like KRS-One was, or like Guru. Those are my heroes. You know what I mean? When I was a kid. You know what I mean? And this is what it's become. You know what I mean? And we have a great guest in the house. So this is the first, one of the rare times that I do a feature interview 2 times in one period with an artist, though. And when the thought came about to it, I was like, yo, I'm with it. Let's do it again, because there was so much. And you know, with Toshi, he only has a certain amount of time because he's got to throw his tracks. And we did the show Classic Storm Radio. That is about to come out. So what we're going to hear, this will be like a part 2 that we'll have to play as your part 1, is you all will hear this first. But before that, there's some timely thoughts and ideas, and so about 1 or 2 to 3 segments that I have to quickly go through. I'm talking about art and art, so this is something that's creative to me, you know what I mean? This is something that you know, and these are pieces that I add on, and I overtly make them poetic prose throughout. And this is a piece
Poetry is always appreciated.
That's peace, God. That's peace.
Writer, you know, I'm always trying to.
That's
hear
peace, you
something
know.
That make me be like,
and
ooh, I like to feel like, ooh.
Indeed. And this piece, for this art and art recital segment, there's a piece I call "Sampling Sleep," and it goes like this, right? Sample the words I wrote under the horn. Let them couple their intentions with the insinuation of your needs. Who I am over who be damned. They look up, them look around, we see inside. Loop never respect fake, and chop prose on perfection and stanzas on revolution. Songs with no hooks end on repeat to a worthy listener. In this period of forged peace failing, the scratches drum my prose that once was overdue, I drew onto the vellum. Crates captured a chapter of antebellum. Whoso samples my life can charge through the royalties in my course. From Puerto Rican descent, true and living God ascent. Equalize that well-read sunset spick ascent. Accent. Oppression I circumvent. Plus lessons interpolate blue and green. Refinement, the focus of a supplement. Power, the influence to rewind the horrors for clues. Mixed in inequality of sung blues so the soldiers would see the news. The northern needs, the eastern eats, the western ways, and the southern adorances. Almighty, always. And that was a piece that I put and sandwiched kind of in a piece I did on my brother from Nebraska, Sleep Sinatra. You know what I mean? One of my favorite MCs of this invisible renaissance. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy? A Wiz I was just with, shout out to Amber. She told me 6 years ago. She was like, "Do you think you a Renaissance man?" I said, "You a Renaissance woman." I feel we in a Renaissance in all areas in science.
We're gonna go into that then. Why I call this the invisible renaissance and why you're a part of it though. So, Haile Ali is making his voice heard though, even before we get to him. But and that's peace. You know, one of the things I want to get into because at the date of this show, it is the day after the Super Bowl, and I did something. I talked about this before, right? This is a segment I'm gonna start calling On the Revolution. You know what I mean? Even myself, who have knowledge of self, and I say I have a definitive idea of who I am. This came about through thoughts of revolution, revolution in my life, revolution for my peoples in Puerto Rico, and all of those movements that I was a part of. You know, being radicalized as a poverty-stricken brother that made it into college. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So, on this segment on the revolution, I'm going to talk about real briefly about what I had done, endeavored with the Super Bowl, you know? One of my frivolous program that I like to watch, though, you know, among many, though, because I don't count all of the girly Saturday cartoons that I watch from my young earth because those are necessary. I got to know about My Little Pony, though. That's essential.
Time too.
You know what I'm saying? That's important. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed, indeed.
Right? I know who the main six is. You know what I'm saying? I know all the shit.
You got
you know?
to. You got because she's going to ask you questions.
Indeed,
like,
indeed. You know, I know about all Elena of Avalor, all of this shit, right? But my frivolous enjoyment is the little bit of sports I watch, right? And then the sports shows, and I watch a lot of Skip and Shannon, but they talk a lot of football. And I can't say I boycotted the NFL because I stopped really following NFL a long time ago. The game's on Sunday, and I just don't have time to be dealing with stuff on Sunday. Indeed. There's too much things to do, too much work, too much time to write.
Depending on however your cipher mature, you know, certain things just they gonna waste their own self.
Indeed, God, yeah. And then there's a lot of research to go into that. You got to know the players, or else you won't enjoy it. But I'm enjoying Skip and Shannon. I like that banter that they have. So I was like, let me study a little bit, do a quick study about the NFL playoffs so I could, you know, watch these games and then I could watch the show. So it was really to watch the show, but I'm skipping segments because I don't know anything about it, right? So I did some research. I text my brother, asked him about things. You know what I mean? He's a football fan, right? And it all goes down to the Super Bowl, right? And I didn't enjoy the 2 weeks up to the Super Bowl because it was all about Tom Brady and he was on some bullshit. I never heard of a player who's GOAT level so marred in cheating and obstruction and all that kind of shit. So it mars it because when we think of GOATs, we think of there's a purity to it. Because the ultimate GOAT of all things is Muhammad Ali, and there's a purity to his conviction. So it just doesn't ring the same way, you know what I'm saying?
Indeed. But
one of the things was people were boycotting the Super Bowl, and I found that to be a problem because they were boycotting football, and I think the world changed. And I said this after Kaepernick was revealed that he was getting money from Nike, and that Nike did, no matter what anybody says, that Nike commercial they made of Kaepernick was about striving hard and overcoming, but it had that presentation of Nike and Kaepernick had nothing to do with his own message.
Indeed.
So it didn't remind people all over the world, which it could have, about police brutality, about racism, about all these things, right? And then, mind you, Nike is in the midst right now. They outfit the NFL.
Indeed.
So this Super Bowl I'm watching, I'm looking at the players, and their uniforms got that Nike swoosh on the shit.
Indeed.
So, you know what I mean? It's like somebody not supporting a whole type of field, a whole type of industry, but they get paid by the industry leader that outfits them.
Indeed.
So it's a contradiction and stuff. And I saw a lot of lane for a lot of hustle because we boycott NFL. But because of what Nike is doing, Kaepernick, and I'm guaranteed, he cannot continually call for a boycott. Indeed. He can only salute the insinuation that others will do, like a Curry wearing the black jersey, the black hoodie, LeBron wearing the black hoodie with the 7 and stuff, and supporting him. You know what I mean? And supporting him getting back and to play football if he wanted to. You know what I mean? So I saw a contradiction in that, right? But what I also saw was this. There was a lot, you know, and it links up with hip hop. I'm watching the game, right? You watch the commercials when you watch the Super Bowl because they always premiere a lot of funny stuff, and you watch it, right? And I see some funny stuff, and then I see what I saw the most was a whole bunch of sellout rappers. Sellout rapper after sellout rapper in a commercial doing jingles. And it was funny because this is a line that nobody lives out, though, right? I do my Be Real imitation, though, where he goes, I used to love that album, Temples of Boom. That shit was fucking amazing. You know what I mean? And on Strictly Hip Hop, he goes, I got these phony motherfuckers talk about let's keep it real, but they don't know how to take their own advisement. Going out doing soda water advertisements, commercializing, fucking sell out. Nigga, this is hip hop. This is 1995 that came out, and I was like, yes, yeah. We made an exception because at that time, though, we was like, you know, because Nas and AZ were in the Sprite commercial. Grand Puba and CL Smooth were in the Sprite commercial and all that shit, right? But it was the point that Be Real was making.
Indeed.
The idea that he was sharing, though, the coonery that was going with it. And I found it funny that people were like, where the hypocrisy, and this is why the most used hashtag in this entire invisible renaissance, these entire 2010s that I have used, has been respect fake. Because Cardi B said, I'm not doing the Super Bowl show.
Yeah, I'm happy you
but
brought
then
that up, God.
she's in the commercial for
Exactly.
Pepsi, which was the official sponsor of the halftime show. Ain't that some shit?
And then y'all gotta remember the
And-
NFL is a non-profit, so that money they giving for
Exactly,
the NFL,
and
they getting.
The hypocrisy of it
They getting right
is
back.
that then our people go,
Shit is a
yo,
cipher.
smart business move. And, you know, they're going to use the meme with the brother pointing to his head. Smart business move. I get the
Yeah.
Super Bowl money without doing the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't see it. I see it as hypocrisy.
Indeed.
It's like everybody could take a stand today for the revolution without revolting. Revolution means you change everything. You abolish everything. There was something
Indeed.
Stokely Carmichael, known as Kwame Ture, said, a militant is someone that hoops and hollers about the wrongs, and then when he is given something for himself, he stops. The revolutionary can never be given anything because they want everything toppled and replaced. And there's a difference. We got a lot of militant voices, but we don't have revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's hard to see the maximum sacrifice of things. I got a lot of respect for all that Kaepernick has done, but when the Nike deal came, it showed that for the most part there really wasn't a sacrifice. And we, like myself and like my guests, we go living as poor righteous teachers. It doesn't mean that we're trying to be poor.
Indeed, it's correct.
It means that we're willing to sacrifice what we have
Indeed.
to share an ideal or represent a principle.
Yo, someone just asked me, I told them about a story, you know, I helped someone out, and they was like, you did that for free? I said, yeah. I said it just
Yeah,
like that. I was just regular. I was
and
like,
God, though, with
yeah.
our people, advancement, that seems like such an abnormality
yeah.
that people are not
Like true
recognizing.
altruism, like the peace I get is just you and your well-being.
Indeed.
That
Indeed.
that exists. I'm not, and that is the piece that I get is that I can't say if that's me getting something, all right, I'm cool with that.
Right.
But again, it was about you.
Right. And I'm not asking the average person to go beyond his means or his abilities.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
I also don't want people to hoop and holler like they did something amazing.
Exactly.
So you see him, and
Exactly.
you know, and then of course you get the Twitter masturbation of self. You know what I'm saying? The masturbatory tweets,
Yeah.
and that's where it gets me pissed off. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to make that knowledge born. It's like I've been with the God, DJ Wise, one of the great DJs, and he's all for this boycott, and I'm with it though. I'm with boycotting something that is just like, yo, they're racist. They did a lot of like civil rights stuff. They had, I think, one of the daughters or granddaughters of Martin Luther King there. They had, you know, other civil rights leaders and stuff. And, you know, to me, it's all just selling out.
Indeed.
It's all just giving a platform for that and shit like that. And that's without saying, though, I won't say a damn word ever. Even though she sang the national anthem, I'll never say a disparaging word to Gladys Knight because I love Gladys Knight. Fuck all that.
Yeah.
I love Gladys Knight, though.
Yeah.
She was amazing with that shit. You know what I mean? But even still, it's the people that proclaim to be revolutionary and things like that, or have done a revolutionary or rebellious act. which to me was quite complacent and more about cleverness. You know, my guest is definitely going to understand this as we go along, but in a lot of the ancient Chinese literature, when you study martial arts, they talk about and this is something that a lot of people with knowledge of self get confused because they use words differently, but they talk about a need for the people to have a lack of knowledge. And what they're saying is that when people have knowledge, and what they mean is that they know about things that they're willing to use for the wrong. They're willing to bloodsuck with. And they say when a person gets this is how most people translate it in English. When people get enough knowledge, they learn cleverness. Indeed. And what we see about these rebels and the use of the woke movement today, it's a lot of cleverness.
You learn to manipulate.
Yeah, and there's no visible courtiers speaking into the ears of kings like they referenced back then. But it's a lot of people speaking to the ears of the people through their social media and presenting an image
really be the 85
like they're sacrificing.
And that's
exactly.
The twisted part about it.
Yeah, and these people leading the 85, the blind, deaf, and dumb, they're no longer blind to certain things. You know what I'm saying? But they maneuver very dumb in the long term. Indeed. And very insincere. So that's why that's the first segment on the revolution. I had to put that out there because I think boycotting and not watching the NFL is always a good thing because it's a heinous league. Now, if we're talking about heinous sports to the individual, if you want to be clear cut and go through everything, you're going to have to boycott NCAA college basketball and college football. That's a fact. Because they bloodsuck those kids and they don't even give them a stipend.
Not at all.
Me and the God Day, son, we met and we got into this hip hop shit.
I mean, my brother playing right now, so I already know.
Yeah.
You know?
Me and the God, right? We got into hip hop through college and we was in the magazines at the same time we was writing in college. We got a stipend for writing in the college paper. We did not sacrifice the way these ball players do.
Not at all.
We didn't do all that training. We wrote the shit out
that's
of
what
leisure.
I was first going to bring up. The physical aspect.
We got a stipend for that shit. And sometimes if the paper made revenue through the ads, well, we was pocketing some of that too.
Yeah, I mean, they still got those that, they keep it quiet, but they try to take their little money on the side.
Right, but it's not official. It's not official. Like we was getting an official stipend.
It's never official,
So they said, look, and you put your extracurricular work in, you are earning a stipend because it's something for the school.
Because they've already figured the mathematics out. This whole team is not going professional.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
It's not going professional.
And then they have the excuse that some of them, like the Zions and stuff, if they are, they're going to leave early. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? But it's all blood-sucking of another level. So I'm saying, like, and even me, I'm even critical of the NBA because I feel like it's a very cleverly liberal league. They're very liberal. Because some of the shit that I would say, I know that they wouldn't say.
I grew up on Allen Iverson, so it's like now.
Yeah. And because they have an NBA young populace, though, that is more tamed.
Indeed.
They're more tamed.
Indeed.
So the hip hop that Iverson was representing was really rebellious. Yeah. That's why I love Iverson. Yeah. One of my favorite players all time.
I was actually on the interview who top athletes, and you already said the supreme one. Because it's like when you say take my title, I don't care about who did whatever to keep record sales. That man said take my title because I'm not going to war.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else like it. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to war.
Yeah. We have measures of excellence, flawless excellence, like Jordan, and we have measures of integrity and excellence mixed together like Ali. You know what I'm saying?
Because even in that same interview, I mentioned Michael Jordan, but I didn't mention him off character and how he is socially and in mind state. It was just that he literally did put in the work to get as great as he was physically to be a basketball player. And that is inspiring. Like, I know how to take the best part out of
it. It is. It really is, though. I've always been a Jordan. I've always studied Jordan and the ruthlessness and focus. You know what I'm saying? He was ruthless against the opponent, and it wasn't about cleverness. Yeah. It wasn't about like, can you get that guy kicked out the game or some shit like that? It was about destroying the opponent. You know what I mean? Through his own hard work, though. That shit was masterpiece theater. You know what I'm saying? And mind you, as a young, a short Boricua, my hero was Isaiah Thomas, though. That was it. Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Johnson, and then later, when as an adult, Iverson all the way.
Yeah, mine's because
Of course, yeah.
So
let me tell you something.
I caught the last bit. I caught Jordan on the Wizards missing the dunk in the All-Star game. You know what I mean? That's like I remember that.
Yeah. Indeed. You know what I mean? Yeah. And for the last segment, before we go to break and play another song from our guest, which you probably already know, is to quickly no fucks given. I had to change this to no fucks given because I'm talking about my fucks. Because if I say who gives a fuck, you guys will be like, yeah, give a fuck. Because like, I might have sellouts listening to this shit.
Indeed.
So this is called
I
no
wanna hear
no
this.
fucks here given. This is my segment, and the segment is 21 Savage. I don't give a goddamn if he was British. I don't give a goddamn if he was Colombian. I don't give a goddamn if he was from outer space though. The music was whack. So wherever he ends up though, that's just where he's gonna end up though. And you know what? People are talking about like, oh, it's messed up that ICE is trying to throw him out. I don't have any commentary on that. What I have to say about this, we expected that this hip hop could have some kind of integrity a little bit. Indeed. And that they would admit at least the fucking block that they were from was actually the block that they were from. You know what I'm saying? So it's respect fake. Because if you're from Britain and you've been rhyming like you're from Atlanta and saying all that shit and never admitted that, you're fake as fuck. You know what I mean? One of the greatest some of the greatest MCs of all time. Slick Rick, all the way down to my personal favorite. I know my producer's with me on this though. MF Doom, right? Mr. Doomalay, one of the greats,
Let
the
Doom
legends.
know I'm waiting on him too, man.
He
I know
never-
you got some shit for
yeah.
me, man. Stop playing, man.
Oh, that yo.
Come on, man.
You and
You know,
Doom?
I talk that talk, man. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, you and Doom, that'd be a combo.
I think so.
But yo, let me tell you something. That's one of the greatest MCs of all time. He never had to say, I'm from here, I'm from there. You know what I mean? I'm by way of this. Sincerity. Where is the sincerity in the youth that are rhyming though? Yo, it's one thing. Back then we had guys that make shitty songs.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
at least you knew where they was coming from and say, that's not really what we do.
Indeed.
And then, you know, we had the Q-tip making it clear. Rappers not pop if you call it that and stop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And we knew. But yo, no fucks given to somebody that was lying on the mic though. You know what I mean? Just like we're going to get all these rappers. Watch, you're going to see a wave of rappers though. They're going to be like, you know what? This whole time I've been gay, you know? And all those heterosexual songs, that makes you fake, my nigga. You know what I mean? Like,
Yo,
you
man,
done.
Cats is already win.
Fake fuck, you know what I mean?
See me, I already know there's that language without the words.
Listen,
man. Signs and symbols.
If
be
you
telling
got
what's up,
if
man.
you got to point your legs forward, if you got to point your feet forward to put them pants on, and you got to snuggle up and wiggle that ass to get them on,
man.
they too tight.
Oh,
they too tight.
man.
That's just an advisory. You know what I mean? But those are the segments. Let's go to that one song from Haile Ali, and we're back with my guest, Haile Ali. This is off Black Ninjutsu.
When I come up here, I stop smoke weed.
Oh, you don't trust people. That's good.
People spike your weed, man. You have to know who you're smoking with. Smoke by yourself. I used to smoke by myself.
Universal. Aliyah. Coyote Tachi. Come on, yeah. Black Ninjutsu. A fool tried to spike me and got dirt up on his Nikes. Trifling like a nomad trying to rob a caravan. Was at his daddy, always gave a rope attached to him and tried to pacify me by calling me his fan. But we don't pity fools, we just let them think we don't see. Let game come to us and feed them till they don't sleep. Knew somebody vanity, a bad bitch, a bad sack of weed. Swipe the Airbnb with a bad piece. Sublime treachery, I faggots can't beat me. Added rule number 1, never outshine the master. The noble on a rebel, high priest say hereafter. Roll you walk gliding while I'm universal flag and monk master. Nigga, I'm greater than all your craftsmen. Making knowledge born for lodge men. I'm a as if as on like Aladdin. Color coordinated, proper geometric patterns. No symbols for the fashion. See vibrational, just like the serpents do. Don't pay y'all coop dudes, but too much for the righteous fruit. They won't unify. Gods fight amongst the gods. Clash to the titans, astral planes quite frightening. Get trained before you go there. All praises due to call. Army with the proper wisdom. Watch our sun glistening. Water walk on every rhythm. Mama told me go get them. Set flame, break them down till they small as particle. Fuck the articles. Elijah never told a lie. There's some planes on high. You can't spy without a string naked eye. White man, you can't jump that high. All praises due to Allah. And some say right. expect the unexpected. Gear switch to my right eye twitch, so what's the message? Death is in the air, I can smell it, it's near. Still banging on the eye blow without key or fear. Stand clear and see 4 on the wall. And I see 4 on the wall, and I see 4 on the floor. Chat less and do more, pay attention to the score. Ignore the crowd roar, shim guard the all coming power forward. Shaking big fools with weak ankles, leave them plank while we twist and dank on the southern river banks. Quit watching face while we meditate. Plant your feet and rejuvenate. You fucking screw face.
We are controlling transmission.
Try to tell them that it's the flow.
And we are back. This is the Power Right Show. I am your host, Sunyaz Allah, a.k.a. S.TREET. Hello. I want to say peace to the gods and nerds, peace to my low-life family, and we're going to have a segment. I'm going to share a segment on the gods and the low-lives and that intersection next week. You know what I mean? And what that means and everything like that, because some people try to hate, though. They don't want you building with nobody. You know what I mean? But, yo, my guest here, this here technically is the second part of an extensive interview that started, but you will be hearing this first. So it's some wisdom knowledge. You get some the universe.
Indeed.
And we're going to go forward, so you won't be lost if you hear this first. But I interviewed my brother Haile for Classic Storm Radio with DJ Toshi. That's about to come out soon.
Peace
But peace to
peace.
DJ Toshi. My man
My
is
guy.
always busy.
Indeed.
Always doing things.
One of the hardest working
That's-
cats
oh my
on
goodness.
scene. I'm
That's
not
right.
saying on it underground, because everybody know we making sound and things happen and they pay attention. Our names don't get mentioned, but we still got pure intention.
That's
you
right,
know?
yeah.
Indeed.
We love DJ Toshi here.
He's the man.
And that interview is going to come out soon, though, so some of the songs that we won't be talking about here or we don't really get to, that's definitely in the other one. So you want to put
y'all gonna like that.
You want to put these two pieces together,
gonna
have
like
a
that.
definitive work here, you know what I mean? But we're going to recap a little bit, you know what I mean?
Indeed. That's big.
And this is the third time really building, on air, seeing the what I see is the young burgeoning greatness of an MC. Haile
I
Ali.
appreciate that.
Haile Ali is an MC that, if you really respect the music and take the time to listen, it's like a great jazz recording. You know, when you hear,
see, that's how I
I'll tell
know
you
he
about
listens.
one of my
he
favorites.
listens.
Though this is on my
He
mind.
listens. He listens.
I'm a big fan. I'll tell you how much. 28 albums. I got 28 and still collecting. And it's not as high as my Miles Davis collection, but I love Jimmy Smith, man. He's the Hammond B3 organ. He revolutionized it in jazz, famous for the soul jazz. And when you hear a lot of his music, it'll sound the same to people over time.
Indeed.
A lot of organ work and all that kind of stuff.
Indeed.
But the more you listen, the more you're hearing the depth of it.
Indeed. You can see how distinguished
boom
each
bap,
note is.
This really great boom bap, this really great hard shit, these drums, these great samples.
Yeah.
They can have that effect on the listener if you don't realize you've got to dig deeper here. You got to have better, sharper ears.
Indeed.
And we start to listen closely.
Indeed.
My guest, Haile Ali, is doing so many things on the mic. So like all these interviews I do with all these MCs that are really, I'm only interviewing the ones I find to be stellar. You know what I mean? The average guys, I'm not really bringing them here.
Sharpen your sword, man.
Oh, yeah, you know.
It didn't come from the God.
Nah. If
You
it's-
know, though, I'm from the Sharp Swords Only clan. It came from the God. He said, "I got to sharpen your swords."
You got to, you know what I mean?
Just
And
a little tad bit.
I said this on the last show. Imagine someone with like a really idiosyncratic thrust, a hiccup right in the end of their punchlines that gives it a kind of bounce that reverberates them back into the next line. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of thrusting. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like we running and then throwing a couple of combos and then running and then throwing a couple of combos. It's like I just envision hitting that Wing Chun dummy smooth and then tough. Smooth and then tough, you know what I mean? Ip Man style, you know what I mean?
Indeed.
And
you know, gotta flow like Moses said. You gotta
yeah.
flow like
And,
Dr. Moses said.
The more you
know?
listen, the wordplay, the word usage, the choices of words,
Indeed.
the insights, the pictorials. This is what I like to call the pictorials when an MC gives an idea about something that isn't just like something of the street, but a picture in the mind about something. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
Visuals about ideas and stuff. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And his debut album, because he has 2 EPs that he released in 2015.
Indeed.
This is his first album with the producer Kaio Itachi.
Shout out to my guy.
Yeah, and I find this to be Kaio's best work. Definitely, if not anything, my favorite Kaio work.
I'm not gonna
And
lie,
his-
Lord. You not the first nor second
Hey,
that
his-
said that. That's big for me because he
Let me
got
tell you
he got a
something.
thick catalog.
His
You gotta think
producer
catalog.
albums.
Indeed.
These are joyous occasions, though. They give you the nice headaches. You know, like how Hell on Earth gave you a headache?
Yeah.
Because those snares were so high and shit.
Yeah.
His stuff will give you a wonderful headache and shit. But I love the choices, you know what I mean? And while we build, we're going to go through some of these choices. We're going to go through some of the music highlights. We're going to go through some of the technique highlights so you see what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
And we're going to ask you, Haile, how you saw some of these songs. Like, what was in your mind thinking about them when you did them? But let's first talk about Kaio Itachi and working with Kaio Itachi. How did you hook up with Kaio? What were the ideas?
I hooked up with him on some shit that I didn't even know was his. My man Cash Bills had a song because he got a project coming out with Kaio as well, and I did a verse for him on that joint. And then I did go to Skanks like, yo, I like how the way Sun shit sound. Let me link up with him. He like, go see him for yourself. I'm like, that's my kind of talk anyway. Let me go see him for us because I like to take the initiative because I like to be in the root of everything I do.
Salute to Skanks because a lot of people want to keep shit to themselves.
Indeed.
That's
Show
not
love.
Skanks' way. You know
Show
what I'm saying?
love. Show love.
That's not Skanks' way. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Spread the love. He was like,
Yeah.
I think you should talk to him for yourself. I'm telling you, he gonna fuck with you. And I'm like, all right. I went to him. I'm like, yo, peace. I'm like, I see your work. I've been acknowledging your sound. What's up? I would like to work with you. Son hit me back with a game plan. So from that game plan,
And did he hear you MC? Did he hear
he
you?
only heard me on that track. And then I guess he must have checked out the rest of my whatever work I had out on the other two joints. And then he was just like, yo, we gonna do some joint. And I'm gonna be honest, he hit me with the name, that same conversation and everything. Yo, Black Ninjutsu. I'm like, yo, he don't even know I do the arts. That's dope.
That's crazy.
So from that foundation there, I just chiseled it up. Because you know, once the God is on scene now, we could really take that idea from knowledge to born. And I really felt like, I'm telling them like, yo, look, Lord, we gotta make this thing. This gotta be, I don't want this track right there. I want this one. And we really sat on it for a little minute because I did like 5 songs for the album as soon as he sent the beats. Like he sent 2 or 3 beats one time. Knocked them out. Sent 2, 3 beats for some producer albums he ain't even put out yet. I knocked them joints out, and I'm showing him my work ethic.
A lot of MCs.
work
I
ethic.
speak about this all the time. Some of my favorite MCs in this era have the same plague that MCs have always had. They have a tendency to pick the same breaks because they get live off the drums.
Yeah.
And we find out they have the same drums.
Yeah.
And Kaio was giving you different snares.
Understand what I'm saying?
Different tempos.
Yeah.
Different EQs. He was making
He seen the John Coltrane in I. He seen the James Brown in I. And that's really it because like me, the first music that I've ever like made to me had impression on me was reggae music, dancehall music, and jazz music. And R&B as well because this is just was being played household. Radio wise, that's where I got hip to hip hop. Like my first album, sitting down and listening to, where it's like me choosing the album, The Locks, We the Streets. So I love that album. And even the line Styles P said on that album, it sticks with me to this day. You know what I'm saying? Blood thicker than water, only in certain cases. You need water to live. You learn that in the basics. Better cherish your aces. Bullets in the faces of the jokers. We laugh at fire, nigga, we smoke. And I'm probably like 11, 12 years old listening to this shit like, yo, this is what my father was talking to me about that had something to do with family. I instantly connected that conversation with my father to that song. So it's like, now I want to listen to hip hop more.
Man, the impact when an MC gives insights.
Yeah.
And you're a young brother living, and you're like, wow, because I have the same experience a lot with Guru.
Yeah.
Everything Guru was saying, I was like,
that's dope you said that.
You know what I mean?
Because my boy Kamali, he works on Rikers, and he was like, yo, God, do you got like a song that you could give me that influenced them? I'm like, yo, Guru, Robin Hood Theory.
Ooh,
Play that joint for them. And he was like, yo, thank you for giving me that. They caught it. And I'm like, Guru was the guy.
I first
He's
heard
that guy.
Robin Hood Theory at the release party for Moment of Truth. First time I got to meet Primo, and I said, hey, this is a great album. You know what Primo said to me? Because I'm just like some little kid, college kid, and he goes, how did you get the album? I said, no, the label, they gave it to us, and he was tight. He was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, you know how it is when you like it's like being a motherfucking the janitor in the times of civil rights. Do you know how many different things they were able to see and just stick their hand in little paper? They ain't had these type of cameras now because you running the music. So the label is like, oh, we got to take it to the street. Mm-hmm. So y'all gonna get those and. That shit died now. That shit turned into a whole bunch of like, some cat tried to tell me, pay him $50. I said, all right, let me research your blog. They only had like 100 followers on his blog on Instagram. I'm like, I pay you $50 to run my project? I said, you're bugging. And that's what, what connections
to me,
you understand what I'm saying?
The element that I'm trying to share here,
yeah.
You'll never be a part of that if you charge for the price of that.
You understand what I'm saying?
You know, you'll never be that, and that charge to publish is delusions are grander from some people because they got no following,
indeed,
or no impact. Like if they say some shit is hot, nobody gives a fuck what you think.
Indeed.
Yeah, okay, we follow your suggestions and shit.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? That's crazy.
You know, I'm all about. If I like to put myself on to mute, like I didn't get to see this artist that performed at the museum Saturday. I think her name is Zara, something like that. But when I seen her name on the list, because I intended to go, I was in the crib listening to all her music that night. So it's like, I like when I don't, you know, people be like, I got to pass through this blog, and now it's all right, cool, it's fly. But nah, man, if you love it, salute it. There's nothing wrong with saying, I love this. This is absolutely like love. And think about it, like Nick Cannon said, that shit don't cost no thing. It's like, what does it cost to be like, I like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing is, though,
it don't really cost nothing.
This music can be done by anybody. So now you have talentless hacks, and the best way a talentless hack can get through is by covering up all of the talent. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want to tell everybody, you know, the high contrast. You know what I mean? Like everybody's a great shooter. So what if I was shooting like 20-footers all day, I want to keep Curry out of the room though, because it'll make me look stupid when he walks in.
Is correct.
Because then he's shooting for 40.
Yeah, it been like that.
Oh shit, this nigga.
It been like that. Like certain cats, like you know, yo, we gotta work. They notable. See me, I studied the art of war and 48 laws. I'm not asking you to do shit. So when you mention something to me, no, am I gonna ask you about what you mentioned to me? But I always know it's like they see how sharp the sword is, and in my mind, I'm like, yo, Lord, let's just make the best song possible. It's indeed, that, like, it's really that. That's really how I look. Like, let's make the best song possible.
I want to go from the music to the more complex. So, like, Kyle Itachi, this is an example I was saying about beat choosing. It kind of went for me the way I listened to the album. It goes from like very thick tracks to very sparse tracks. Yeah, you know what I mean? And where there's a lot of space in them. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, you would have stuff like The Root Doctor, like, you know, just have a little cryptic vocal, very, very distant piano keys, and then there's this crunching break,
that's my
and
joint.
that tisking scare,
that's my
There's
joint
nothing
right
else.
there.
There's a lot of open space there, and your voice fills it out. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then you get very a little bit more lively, but very filled tracks. What I call that thick track. You know what I mean? Like that Pete Rock stuff that we like. That he's the pioneer of that thick track. Yeah. And we have like Snake's Creep Down as an example because the organ smash, right? Yeah. That thickens up the whole track. You know what I mean? Because when the bass line comes in on top of the organ. Indeed. You know what I mean? And then the break is popping through. You got the hand clap snare.
And think about it, Lord. The way I hear music, I hear everything in its individual layer together. Listen, that's really how I hear music.
I always give it producer props, Kyle.
Have to.
When I hear a hand clap snare used the right way. Because the hand clap snare, growing up, the hand clap snare was the way the West Coast sold out.
Indeed. It made it boring.
Yeah.
It became boring,
And that's the way they popped out things and made it more of a, you know, thing. And the most memorable hand claps aren't really from the West Coast in my memories. You know what I'm saying? They're from the East Coast because when
Dilla
you used
too.
them, you had to be, oh man. Yeah, Dilla's another story though. He's a master of that.
Yo,
you know
that's,
what I mean?
if nobody know, right? That's who ignited this pen back. Yeah. It was listening to Dilla beats. I was like,
you know what? Dilla, you're right. Dilla's a master. I'm talking 90s into that. You know what I mean? Like the early 90s into that. And so I'm thinking songs like It's Yours, RZA. You know, It's Yours. You know what I mean? People didn't use the hand clap snare like that in the West Coast. You know what I mean? And Dilla's another thing because he's the guy that I never heard a producer make such hard tracks and yet be so poppy at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? They're rugged, but they kind of pop. You know, like abnormal gift.
It was a science. It was science.
Abnormal gift, man.
Science
Because
in what he
other
was
people
doing.
try to do that. They make trash with that. They make total
Nah.
trash. Dilla is an addiction, a beautiful addiction. You know what I mean?
Him and Madlib, that's how it is for me. It's
Oh, yeah, I'm a
like,
Madlib.
The motherfuckers is like dope in my veins. I
Yeah.
hear that, I'm running the mile. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
Madlib.
stopping. I'm not stopping.
Crates, man. Crates.
Yeah.
Madlib. You
Yeah.
hear all types of shit with Madlib. But look, now we move on, right? I want to throw out some songs because if you couple this with the other interview, you're going to hear about his origins, his ideas, all of this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So I want to continue with particular songs that we was building on and the
Indeed.
themes of not only the album,
Indeed.
but this man's character and principle itself.
Indeed.
But there was a song, right? Splurge and the Demiurge. By the way, these song titles is crazy.
Yeah.
They're crazy. But you said on the song, right? You said, cool and calmly, I had a talk with mind. He says, stay sublime.
Yeah.
And one of the things I tell students, right, is the conversation that you have with yourself has to be of merit and not
Indeed.
disrespect. A lot of people
Indeed.
disrespect themselves. They do something messed up, and, oh, you're such a fuck up. In their head, they're saying this shit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the way I'm moving,
Indeed.
I'm the God. So, like, if I mess up, I'm like, yo, come on, this is a rarity. Come on, get your shit
I gotta
together.
correct
Come on.
myself.
Like, come on, now, you got this. You know
And
what I
then
mean?
I just be like, oh, now you know what not to do.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
simple.
like, tell me how you see that conversation in the mind, though, and how does it work to
Well,
produce a better you? You know what I mean? Like, how do you vision that? Because some people see it as more like automatic, like that's my personality.
You got to be honest with yourself. You have to really know. It's like what I tell people when they want to change their diet. Do not expect you to try to just exponentially knock everything out of that's filthy that you're eating. You want to break it down in increments. So you have to be honest with yourself and where you are and what you want to talk about with yourself. And sometimes, there's people that can't go like this, not only with other people, but in the mirror with their own self. And it's because they run away from that thought that just it has to be addressed. So the best thing to do is to sit down, literally sit down, be wherever you find physical peace, and size yourself up. You don't got to be sitting in the lotus or nothing. You just got to calm yourself. You could even write about it. Because so the
Absolutely.
conversation with yourself don't necessarily just got to be mentally. You could, if that makes you feel better and it's a better flow, you can sit down. But you must be honest with yourself.
Very
though.
much in tune, 'cause
Must be honest.
again, in my major curriculum I give in my course, every student has to have a journal.
Indeed is correct.
But I don't read it.
That's peace.
That's for them. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
peace.
You write about your builds, how you see the mathematics. If you study that, you write about your day.
Indeed.
And then you write about all of the things that you read.
Indeed.
Because that's how I started writing a journal. I was writing about the things I read because I couldn't steal all the books that I was. So I started to write everything that was in the book.
For me, it became an addiction
know?
from school. It was like, when your teachers tell you keep a journal, it was like, oh, nah,
yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sharing this with the
And-
class. This is, I'm telling the truth right now. I just came from seeing my
Yeah,
pops,
it-
and it made me feel this way.
Yeah, and if it's really
I
done
was
well,
telling the
it
truth.
breeds in honesty.
Yeah.
Because you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
And you can understand that conversation that you have with yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's a very difficult thing for a young brother to do. We're lied to
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
that we learn to lie to ourselves about shit.
Yeah, like,
You know
and
what I mean?
now I'm, like, if people really, like, people that know me that listen to this album, they was like, oh, you really showed your scars. I'm like, yeah. If you could listen to how I placed it in a metaphor when I'm just saying constellations for ceiling lights. That's not having nowhere to go.
I didn't even write that line
You know what
down,
I'm
but
saying?
that was-
Constellations for ceiling lights. Belly grumbling on the Sony Waterfield winter night. Chlorophyll for the nutrient. 1 meal a day was wisdom. Now necessary. The only option why the optics full of joy when they see the pain they pray for. Still ain't on all fours. Almighty. The tales of an alchemist. Bench pressing 616 tons of stress effortless. Yeah, without a bed and I ain't take my head, slip my wrist, pop the pillow, steal from my mama. Huh. Feeling waves, burn your sage candle, burn, chant my name to your biggest sage, nigga.
Oh, man.
I mean, so
Fucking
I
shit up.
I cut myself on because that's just me. It's like if I don't tell the truth, like I could sit down and write I know I can type shit all day, but when I express it, it doesn't feel authentic to me unless it's literally based on me probably seeing something out in the world and all right, cool, my actual emotion toward it. I mean, if I get a bag to write a theme song, that's different. But you know what I mean? But coming
right.
like since it from like just my own target intention, it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be like all my rhymes to me are like memoirs. Every single rhyme to me, it's an actual fact just written in the form of a great story, you know.
Well,
you know.
going to another song to really show this also, Heaven Meets Earth. You know,
Featuring
when
my
I-
baby beloved, my niece. I love her.
Indeed, and when I heard that song, I was like, "Yo, this brother is so non-didactic. You know, he's non-preachy. Like he'll build about something, but it doesn't seem like he's hammering it.
I
To, you know what I mean?
appreciate that.
Like, don't go to school, don't do drugs. Ugh.
Yeah.
You know, like it didn't come off like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
That's my joint.
you know, one of the lines that does, you know, we talked about hooks
Yeah.
on Toshi's show.
Yeah.
And I have to mention this one because it goes in there because you said we'll speak about those spaceships another day. But you said,
Oh yeah, definitely.
an idle mind is a jungle gym for devil's play.
Facts,
And
man.
the way you
Facts.
reword
That's an actual
reword that is so clever. You know what I'm saying? And it does stick in your head. It's really one of the best hooks on the whole album. It really
appreciate that.
stays in your head. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny because I think that same line, wise a law just be like too. And I was like, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
literally, if you just think about your own situation where you've ever been idle, you was just doing a bunch of bullshit
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
at somewhere
And
in some part of
mind
your
you,
day. You know what I mean?
The God had asked you about it. That's why I didn't.
Oh, that's
when we was on
peace.
Classic Storm.
That's peace.
But I wanted to add that as a martial artist, us as being martial artists,
Indeed.
that's also very Confucian. Because Confucius in his Analects, he spoke about, the person to watch the most is yourself when you're alone. You know what I'm saying? Because in the Analects, there's a lot, like there's, for example, for the listener, there's parts in there where the disciple goes to him, look at that teacher. He just yells at his student and stuff like that. And he goes, and he's telling everybody what to do. And he goes, and Confucius looks at his student. He says, man, that guy must be amazing though, because he has so much, he does so much great work that he has time to even find out what other people are doing wrong. I ain't got time for all that. I only got time to really see what I'm doing wrong.
Indeed.
You know what I mean? And so like that focus about the self and learning how to be alone, that's a very Confucian
Indeed.
thought. You know what I'm saying?
And it came from just literally being, like I told you on the other show, it's like me and my solitude put me in situations where cats thought I ain't fuck with them. And I'm like, yo, I'm just about my mind right. In my day, if I'm thinking of, if you understand who I'm training with, you wouldn't want to give up that opportunity. You're going to want to be there as much as you could be there. Then I got to build my bag. Then I'm writing this album. Then I want to deal with my ladies. And then we're grown men now. I caught on. I'm dealing with my own universe. It's nothing towards you. It's just I got my own thing going, right? I can exist by myself, no one around me, on an island, eating good without going crazy. And I'm only wisdom equality. That is big for me because I've been put there to be by myself, literally, with family, all type of shit. So it's like, all right, it's one or two things you could do here, God. You're going to build or you're going to what? You're going to destroy. And I ain't in my mathematics. My mind just say build. So I'm building. You understand? The science of destruction has its place, but it doesn't have its place when I'm thinking about elevating myself, unless there's things a part of my life that I need to take away. And for me, it was not enough solitude. I thrive in solitude. Others may not. And the analogous point I make is when people misbehave in prison, the first place they want to put them is in a box. You're there by yourself, or even maybe sometimes with another person. But y'all there with your own mind in a confined space. How stable can you be? You have to be taught how. You have to know how to be stable in that place, because many people think meditation is just closing your eyes and thinking and deep breathing. Nah, it's a little bit
And
more.
it's not. The first exercise is to let the thoughts go.
You understand?
right?
Let
Yeah.
it go. You understand? You don't even want to
Right,
control
right.
what's there, you know?
Well, let's take a break from
Indeed.
that, and we'll go. I want to switch up because that was heavy. Let you rewind on that. We're gonna go back into shit like that.
True indeed.
But we talk about techniques. You're on that Bandcamp. You're at, HaileAli.bandcamp, and you're checking out this album. You want to know, like, what does he mean by techniques, Sunyas and stuff? Listen to Kusa Heights. The whole flow is made up of chopped phrases with these really
you caught on?
great pauses in between.
You caught on?
It's mastery.
My
I hear
guy,
that
my
shit,
guy
you know what I mean?
Breeze the Beat Machine. I recorded that at his studio. He was like, yo, nobody never rhymed like that before. He said, I said, yo, I know.
Yeah.
You know what I told him? I said, I came up with it just now.
Yeah.
Because I did it with like 2-3 lines, and I was like, oh no. I said, stop this. We got to do the whole song over. I got to do the whole song like that.
I thought of it like this. It's like you
Yeah.
stayed next to the pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it sounds weird, but the pocket is a groove.
Indeed.
That we easily hear with the break beat.
Indeed.
So when I say, I'm listening to it and I'm like, he's riding next to the pocket. Like you're riding shotgun next to the pocket.
Indeed.
So you can veer away, you go back in.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? It was like those motorcycles, the pocket, and
Indeed.
you're like that
Indeed.
that extra wagon that they put next to it. It was very rarely do I hear people even fuck with that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Or
think,
even
I'm going to be
try
honest,
it.
I don't think cats
Yeah.
really listen. I think a lot of hip-hop cats that come around, that'd be dope MCs too, right? But I even heard Rock Marciano say one time, he's like, it's hard for cats to find that pocket. And I think it's because the only thing you listen to is the drums. And there's so much more shit to rhyme to
And see,
than just
you're
drums,
mentioning
you know?
one of the masters with making his own pocket.
Indeed.
You know, some
Indeed.
people make their own pocket. You know, when
Indeed.
you make your own pocket, you're out
Indeed.
there. And I was like, man, did he just make a fucking side wagon on this fucking pocket
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
It just was dope. Listen to Coosa Heights. Really take the time to listen to it. And if you don't hear it, that's okay, because that's what makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
You're going to get the lyrics the first time.
Haha.
And then later, you're going to be like, wow, you know.
I mean, it took
this is
me a year to understand Food
And
and Liquor
that's what
from
I'm saying.
Lupe when I was young. Like
That was
that's
a heavy album.
That's one of and
That was a
like,
heavy
you know,
album.
And I wasn't even into mathematics
But
or nothing. So I'm just using my natural
These albums got, right?
process of thought at that
The
time.
heavy
And it took
mentals,
me a year.
the heavy
Took a
mentals, the
year.
Woo Forevers and stuff.
Exactly.
They got techniques, but they also got ideas.
Indeed.
You gotta live with them for a while. You know what I'm saying? You gotta live with them for a while. You know, and
that
that's why
fine
personally,
wine.
I love that it's released now because there aren't that many next level records coming out that came out this early year.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to
Yeah.
hear your record
Told
alone
you, man,
with that.
Kyle, we had
You know?
to get in. He was like,
Right,
nah,
right.
first quarter, Christmas just. I said, Kyle, listen, let me tell you how it worked. First of all, if Christmas just passed, I mean people got money. I don't know where you from, but Christmas where I'm from, mean people got money. They're actually they're happy, they're pleasant, and when they love
Well,
you,
especially the youth. Yeah.
you understand? And
Yeah.
yo, listen, people, like I said, I had CDs on me. By the time I got here, I didn't have any on me. People,
That's crazy.
You know, and like so for me, the album it came out on the 14th.
Well, let me
so
ask
we,
you.
we still in it.
Let me
Two weeks
ask
in.
you the general question.
What's that?
I talked about your theme, your character, your principle.
Yeah.
If this album is as I was saying, that it describes your essence
Mm-hmm.
and your nature, the character you're bringing out, though, how would you describe that, just in layman's terms? What is that theme, that principle that you're rhyming as, and how is it expressed in this album?
Love hell right. Because when you love yourself, you know, we in a world of many different difficult situations, not only dealing with your own interpersonal regard, dealing with how society is set up, but when you love yourself, you're going to do whatever you have to do for yourself to get yourself right and exact. And that's, of course, the righteous way. Understand what I'm saying? And that's really big. That's what it is. It's really true peace and tranquility, because it's not something, once you attain peace, you have to maintain it, because you don't stop growing. Your adversity differs as you grow, because your perspective change. Something that you may have looked at as wasn't adverse when you were a child now may be an adversity today. Things, and you always lack in the area. And me, I'm just a person that always got something to learn and grow. So for me, it's definitely, you know, peace and love, literally.
We have songs like White Crane Spread Wings with
Yeah.
massive amounts of metaphors in them. They're brilliant.
Ooh, that's my thing right there. I love White Crane Spread Wings.
know-
That's my joint.
Coosa Heights is a song that I'm still studying.
That's peace.
I keep it real. I'm still
That's
studying
peace.
that song.
That was like an
You know what I
ode
mean?
to my mama.
And you know, as a last track to really delve into before we go, right? There was I talk a lot about the hustle and the manipulation of that among our people. You know what I'm saying? Where it turns into blood sucking. And Dr. Irvine, right? You had that. First of all, you had that one quote that goes with what you were saying before. Who can tell my story better than I? You know,
than
that's
I.
why these are your memoirs. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
But you said something really dope. You said your belly goes soft unless you hustle and use the muscles of your mind. So I bench press Pro Tools with my vocals. And mind you, the verse goes iller on the metaphor of that. You know what I mean? And explain that because you're saying that you have to hustle.
Yeah, my mother
You know
was
what I'm saying?
like,
Like-
you want to rhyme? I love you. I support you. How you going to make money? How you going to live? You're about to get out my house, which she did. Get out. So if I don't grind, if I don't figure out a way to monetize what I do, and it wasn't even just necessarily around music. It was also just around how I was living my life in general.
Right.
What was I gonna do for sustenance of myself as a man? You know, and it come today that everything that sustains me is literally what I love to do. You know, I teach the Tai Chi in the school.
Indeed,
you know,
indeed.
I teach outside. I have private clients. You know, get at me if you want to learn Yang style Tai. It's like, that's why I said the album is like really emblematic of who I really am. You know what I'm saying? Because when I started, when I wrote that song at that time, my favorite move in Tai Chi was White Crane Spreader Swings, and it's elegant, and I'm talking mad shit on the song. You know, I'm dropping science, but just the swing and the cadence and the attitude on the track is like, oh, this motherfucker just think he all
You
fly.
just rhyming like you see that style.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. This album is I don't care whatever comes out, this will be one of the best albums of the year.
That's an honor.
To me, I see it as a rising album.
Indeed.
I see much more in what Haile Ali is going to bring.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a
If y'all
listener's
like
album.
this one,
but this is
yeah.
also an album to get that workout on, because Kyle,
I
man,
think so.
He
Oh,
doesn't-
yeah.
He don't make albums
Listen,
that
you're doing
you just,
yourself a serious disservice if your headphones ain't good, the speaker in your car ain't good, if you just ain't got a
This
good
needs
speaker,
quality speakers,
Yeah,
man. Quality
you know,
speakers.
Yeah,
But
enjoy that joint.
the social media, Haile, is
Haile_Ali, HAILE_Ali, or you could just type in the Root Doctor on the search joint.
Root Doctor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's
And-
you know, Root Doctor Records
Stream the
coming
album.
soon. Yes,
Yeah.
on everything is streaming. Go, you know, get in, listen,
Yeah.
listen.
Stream
That's,
the
you
album.
see, I ain't saying nothing else,
And
but listen to it.
Because
Listen
this is
to
a
it.
part 2, go listen to the part 1 though, when it
yeah.
becomes available. Classic Storm Radio.
Yes,
We
he
go
asked some very
we go
in-depth
through
questions
his
there.
we go through his origins.
Yeah.
We go through that massive influence of us being gods of the 5% Nation, gods and nerds. We go through the martial arts. We go all that. So they give a supplement to this. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
And man, I want to thank you again, though.
thank
you know
you
what I
for
mean?
having me, my
thank
brother.
You.
I
thank
thank
you,
you.
brother.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And on that note, until next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce. I'm your host, Sunya Zala, a.k.a. Skillistrator Low. And as always, the Power Right Show is a never respect.